Hello there, it's another story, another Middlemen episode. Sometimes I ask, how do you stay hopeful in a country that constantly tests your faith, your patience, and even your sense of humor? Well, in the midst of the chaos, our jurors dare to believe that change is still possible. And this is the show where we speak, question, and demand. Our jurors today mean business with the thought-provoking cases and sharp verdicts. Juror Emeka Madunagu's case, titled Soludo's Flop, Garba Shehu's Pain, highlights the dangers of misinformation and blame game in government circles and how they can distort the truth and worsen crisis. Juror Henry Igwebuike's case reflects how African nations are still often underestimated or patronized in global conversations. His case is titled Trump's Comment on Liberia, Compliment or Insult? Juror Olajumoke Alawode-James addresses the conflicting interests of Nigerians and urges us to desire the same things if we ever want to move forward as a country, in a case titled, What Do Nigerians Want? And I, Juror Innocent Adulugba, questions the lack of hype and attention that local government elections have stirred. These ought not to be, as local government elections bring power closer to the people. This will be discussed in a case titled, Is the Lagos State local government election holding on Saturday important? These cases and further conversations will come your way right after this break. This is The Middlemen. Let's delve into it. Thanks for joining us. This is still The Middlemen, and the conversation begins. My case. Is the Lagos local government election holding on Saturday still important? Voting in election is a fundamental right which gives power to the masses to help create meaningful changes. Local government elections are essential for enhancing democracy, decentralizing power, and promoting local development. They enable effective governance. Sadly, federal elections, including the presidency and the National Assembly, as well as the state legislature seats and governor elections, are generally well understood and receive the majority of public attention. Yet elections into local offices, which have equally, if not more impact on our everyday lives, often do not receive the same attention. So I ask, is there truly a local government election holding in Lagos this weekend? I mean, on Saturday, 12th July 2025. What are the awareness level? Have the electorates heard campaigns and manifestos of the candidates? What are the impacts of local government area chairmen? A fellow journalist told me today that rather than the candidates directly campaigning to the electorates, they are now using influencers. The videos are all over the YouTube. People like Sahid Oshukpa, Kwamwon, MC Oluomo, etc. are speaking in proxy for those directly contesting these elections. And so some people are of the opinion that local government elections are now reduced to mere carnivals. My verdict: the presidency announced in January that local governments across the country will begin to receive their allocations directly from the Federal Allocation Account Committee, FAAC. I hope this will be put into judicious use by winners of the local government elections.
We will hold them by their shokoto till they do. They must. And we spoke about local governments, the last edition of Middlemen, and we know that it is important now more than ever, because particularly in Lagos State, subsequent governors since Governor Tinubu relegated the local governments to, children or grandchildren of the governors, right? They appointed them as they wished, and all the work that the local governments should do, like streets, tarring, primary schools, primary health care, cleaning of gutters, the governors created agencies of the state government to handle all of those things. So you'll have LASEPA for parking, you will have what's the one? Waste management. Loma. You'd have Loma, do waste management. You just had agencies of government doing the work that local government should do. Now that their federal allocations go to them directly, I mentioned how my LCDA received 3 billion for this year 2025. That's 250 million a year. How much do they pay as salaries? So we, the communities within the LCDA, are now asking, and that's not the local government itself, it's just my LCDA. Imagine how much my local governments would have received. So we, the communities, are demanding governance. When I was environmental chair of my estate, I went to the LCDA and said, you have a compactor, come and clean our gutters. What do you do for us? During this election week, the incoming, although it's only APC we saw, gathered us and came to speak to the community, my estate. Now, why is it only APC? Last edition we spoke about it. Prior to now, it would be 20/20. All the local governments will be won by APC because the agency, last year, Lagos State Independent Electoral Committee, is the governors who do local government elections, right? Is when they wish that the elections happen. But now that they are getting federal allocation, even if it is the governors doing it, we, the people, are now more aware, more interested. Because we know that you now have the funds. Before they'll say, they only pay their salaries, so they don't have money to do anything. Now you get the allocation. We are more interested in who gets in and what they do. So even though it is only APC for this election, I know that by the next election, when the candidates know that we, the people that can put them in, are more interested in local government, they'll start to vie.
The question I still ask is, are we really aware of the fact that we should hold them responsible? If we must hold them responsible, are we holding on to one party responsible? And this one party has been there for ages. They feel that they are immune to anything. We don't even care. In fact, they feel they don't care what we think, to be honest. I used to think before now that the United States of America had just two parties, or maybe three. Democrats, Republicans, and Independent. But I now realize after some research that there are over 50 political parties in America. Now, these 50 political parties, most of them are unknown. What they do is, the local government councils is where they win the votes. That's where they actually do some of the things. That's where they are, prominent there. And so the question is, can we really say Lagos has gotten it right, knowing that we have no choice but to just look up to that one APC?
So we know the problem. We know the problem of Lagos, right? I think where we can start is to ensure that another political party takes the next gubernatorial elections in Lagos. Once they do, number one, you open the books of Lagos, because in the last 26 years, those books have not been opened.
Are you sure there'll be books?
Number two, by the time opposition is in power in Lagos, then opposition candidates will realize that I can actually win local government. Because at the local level, see what has been happening this weekend, URTW, they have already started to threaten people. A lot of people will not come out.
No.
A lot.
But for me, I think it's just a charade.
Yes.
Around nonsense.
The election is a charade.
Because it's a coronation. You see, for me, sometimes these people overplay their hands. You hear the NURTW chairman, Mustafa Sego, look at all the things he was saying, all the rubbish he was saying. Look, we know that even there was a state in Nigeria where You know, after the local government election, the chairman of one council came to one function. I was telling the women, you know, you people turned out the mass and voted for us. The women said we didn't vote. We didn't vote. The man said, what are you saying? He said, we didn't vote. So look, look, we just know it's a coronation. Why are you now trying to divide the country? Why are you trying to burn the country down? I'm saying it directly to this APC and their people. We know it's a coronation. Come on, go and do all your charade and all of that.
And allow people to go about their normal business.
Talking, saying the same thing, that this and that, this ethnic group is this. You listen, we fought a war in this country for 30 months and it set this country back. I don't think that those, you know, who are trying to stoke a fresh war, they understand
the
that
impact
that their generations may be wiped out of the face of the earth forever.
if the war does happen.
If what happens, so do your whatever and let's have peace and move on our life.
Yeah,
that's a waste of some productive hours.
It's okay. People, there are those who take it seriously, who knows if it's those that are already guaranteed they will be winning. But in countries like South Africa, Switzerland, the local government elections are the most important.
Nigeria will also get
Look at
there.
in Britain, the Reform Party won over 600 seats. So you can because
Nigeria will get there.
In those countries, roads, employment, housing, and other stuff are within the purview
of the local
government.
councils.
So, like you mentioned, people pay more attention. It's not only about winning the governorship.
We will get there.
And so the conversation continues. Thanks for that. We'll go on a short break now, and when we return, Juror Emeka Madunagu will present his case titled Soludo's Flop, Garba Shehu's Pain. Don't go anywhere. There's more to uncover.
The punching of jurors. In the hallowed halls of justice, where echoes of truth intertwine with whispers of despair, there stands Olajumoke Alawode-James, a radiant figure sculpted by the universe, with a beauty akin to a stallion galloping through fields of reckoning. Clad in the armor of eloquence, her voice pierces the thick veil of complacency, unraveling cases that cradle the very essence of Nigeria's collective agony. She stands a sentinel over a nation laid bare, beckoning it to rise from the ashes of its own dissolution, crying out for a redemption that dances just beyond reach. Next emerges Evans Ufeli, a sage, with a heart that beats in harmony with the rhythm of justice, an advocate driven by a fervent dream of egalitarian dawn. Each week, he unfolds a scroll of cases bestowed upon him by the wise rabbi, a craft woven with threads of profound thought and searing urgency. His lamentation for the plight of the people rises like a haunting melody, reverberating through a land where self-inflicted wounds twist the tendrils of allegiance into knots of a servitude, traded for nothing more than a pittance, a morsel of bread amidst the hunger of the soul. Then strides forth Emeka Madunagu, a linguistic maestro, armed with knowledge as dense as the forest, each word a carefully sharpened arrow aimed at the heart of injustice. He ventures onto this hallowed platform armed with solutions, a veritable panacea for the ail of his compatriots. Emeka unyielding locks eyes with the elite, unflinching in his resolve as he speaks truth to power with the fervor of a modern-day prophet. He advocates for a class suicide, a radical act of severance from the vines of greed that choke the very life of Nigeria, prescribing this sacrificial rite as the only balm for the nation's festering wounds. Now, We bear witness to Innocent Adulugba, a custodian of integrity, where honesty flows like a river untainted. His edges of sacred truth is fortified by the solid foundation of reason, delivering a symphony of clarity that dances gracefully along the social-cultural spectrum. Innocent, an oracle of the common people, channels their pulse, imbibing the essence of their struggles and transforming them into the language of the streets. His enlightenment becomes a lantern, guiding those lost in the shadow, illuminating pathways once obscured as he breathes life into the collective consciousness. Henry Igwebuike stands as a watchdog, a vigilant watcher of the tempest that permeates the fabric of Nigeria, a land once resplendent with the vibrancy of hope, now adrift in the murky waters of uncertainty. With a heart heavy, yet buoyed by fate, he ponders the fate of this great vessel, once sailed by the spirits of unity and promise, now battered by the storms of discord and strife. What port shall it find amidst the turmoil? Where does the compass of its destiny truly point? As waves of cynicism crash against its hull, as the sirens of turmoil sing lullabies of disillusion. In this pantheon of jurors, each voice rings out a chorus, weaving the fabric of a new Nigeria. Sit, relax, and enjoy the show. The Middlemen.
We are back and the middle of the matter is heating up. Let's dive in. My case is titled Soludo's Flop, Garba Shehu's Pain. Professor Chukwuma Soludo is the governor of Anambra State. He prides himself as being highly knowledgeable as a former lecturer at the iconic University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and erstwhile governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. However, his status as the chief security officer of Anambra State makes him assume he can whimsically comment on security matters. Some days ago, he told the indigenes of his state in the diaspora that 99.9% of the suspected criminals who had been operating in his state were Igbos. He, however, failed to back up his bizarre claim with any scintilla of evidence beyond the fact that he had been in office for over 3 years. Yes, and so you should know what he's talking about. That's what he was, clearly saying. Nothing told our professor that he was engaging in ethnic profiling of his own people without considering the consequences. Lest I forget, he said allusions to some of the crimes being committed by Fulani headsmen were false. Still, he didn't provide any information on how he arrived at that conclusion, nor did he say of what use his profiling was for. Anyway, some days later, unknown gunmen struck in 2 major cities of the state and engaged security men in a battle that claimed 4 lives and left a few persons injured. Did the gunmen provide their ethnicities? If you ask me, now who I go ask? Soludo should take a cue from former media aide to ex-President Muhammadu Buhari, Madam Garba Shehu, who told newsmen this week how a military spokesman lied to him about the abduction of 344 pupils of Government Science Secondary School in Kankara, Katsina State in December 2020. He said the military official told him that only 10 pupils were abducted by Boko Haram, whereas the actual number was far more than that. And interestingly, when the military officer told him that, he was with some parents of the abducted pupils. Recall also how former President Goodluck Jonathan was misled by military authorities in April 2014 after over 200 girls were abducted from the Government Girls Secondary School Chibok in Borno State by insurgents of the same Boko Haram terror group. Expectedly, Soludo hasn't clarified or retracted his bizarre claim. He uttered the same claim some time ago and offered no explanation when he was confronted by an angry public. My verdict: there appears to be an ongoing attempt in government circles to spin the narrative about terrorists, kidnappers, and sundry felons in Nigeria in a manner that places the blame on victims of their atrocities. Soludo will be well advised to slow down on his outbursts on security matters so it's not made to look funny by contrary revelations. Security matters are not usually subjects of black and white narratives. It's better to fight the criminals and make the country safer than to engage in empty propaganda and sloganeering.
Hey, well, sloganeering, I like the word. Governor Soludo is somebody that I love to hate. What do I mean by that? We thought he did fantastically as governor of CBN, and we've been clamoring for technocrats in politics and governance, and we just assumed that, you know, from Peter Obi to Ebiano, you know, to Soludo, that Anambra would be on that progressive
trajectory.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think that has happened in the last 3 years of his governance. He has been in misfit. You know, being a technocrat is not exactly a pass mark, automatic pass mark to being a fantastic, you know, governor or leader. Anambra under him has seen insecurity
increase,
promoted to the worst level. Unfortunately, we'll say the governors are not the chief security officers, because even though they have security votes, they do not have the security machinery, you know, to secure their states. But his utterances have not helped at all. You know, Anambra is going to have elections in November 2025. He may win his re-election, not because he's been a fantastic governor, but because he has aligned with the center. We know how politics goes in Nigeria. It's not really about who's doing well. President Buhari would never have come for a second term if it was just about your first term
performance
card, you know, report card. It's more about who knows how to politic the best. We hope that Anambras like Juror Emeka Madunagu will keep on holding their governor, excuse me, accounts for security, because that's the primary assignment of any government, security of people and property. And we hope that if he does come in for a second term, he will learn how to truly govern. Unfortunately, that's not what happens in Nigeria. Once governors get a second term, they now start to think about how do they retire well. But it's left to the Anambrans to do the right thing in November.
Very so pathetic. I'm just like you did say, I'm one of those big fan of Soludo. When he was a CBN governor, did awesomely well with that institution. Unfortunately, when he took over the reign of a position as Anambra State governor, we've not seen him do anything. And going by the fact that he is a professor of macroeconomics, what that means is he is more like a miracle worker who can turn 10 naira to a billion. But unfortunately, theoretically, that is. Unfortunately, Professor Soludo has not been able to do any of that. Not even 2% of that. Anambra State should be one of those states that is the easiest to govern. Very, very easy. Because already there is an autopilot system. Everyone there is hardworking, entrepreneurial. You see, things are already there. All he needed to do was just to stimulate all of that.
Stimulate the economy
like a catalyst
by itself.
You understand?
You know, pretty much like how Governor Alex Oti was doing power. You know,
exactly.
Just give just go and find the independent, and President Buhari did that one for us. Decentralized power generation. Just find people to come and generate power for your industries to work and concentrate on doing roads. Did you not invite Governor Tinubu to come and commission
his what's it called? His government house, his secretariat, and zoo and a park? And I'm asking myself, coming from a professor of economics, who should be talking about taking his state to that arena, exactly, to that Uhuru, that place where, you know, other nations will be like, wow, this is the best place. And it's so very, when I heard some of this, I feel so sad. I've not been in governance, but I would ask myself, if I was there, the best I would do is, there are 3 senatorial districts to every state. Why not say, okay, is it possible for me to create a pseudo cities in any of these areas? Make everyone look like an independent state. Whatever it is that is in the center, let me, you know, make it go round. And that is how you can, you know, be a catalyst to the system.
You're talking about like business hubs.
Yes, central business districts in every senatorial zone. It's very easy.
Many people have said, for the global renown Onitsha has reached, talking about what some of us call Nwa boy.
Yes.
That even they need to be an Onitsha stock exchange.
There is.
Beautiful. But is it?
There is a stock exchange functional, yes.
Is it so viable?
Yes, it's
So such that.
And then there is also an Onitsha business school.
Okay.
Founded and headed by I think, I don't know if he's a professor, Dr. Oshigbeson. He's from Osun State. He did the youth service in Onitsha. And then after that, he set up the Onitsha Business School. And you have so many graduates of that school.
Okay, so with that,
Yes.
attached to the luminous CV of Professor Soludo, I would think that the engagements would deter and diminish insecurity. Because it's a good economy that secures a political system. So,
And you know the interesting thing. One of my friends said, Anambra is so geographically located that you can fence the whole state.
of course.
He said the way Anambra is, you can actually fence the whole state. That is small. Lagos is the smallest in land, size, but Lagos has a coast.
Yes.
It has the territory, so you can extend into the sea. But Anambra doesn't have that. You can't extend too much into the River Niger. So that with that, it's so easy to govern, to police Anambra State. Look at Anambra, is an ethnically diverse state that a smart governor can actually stylishly get some of the capital, going into Lagos to come to Anambra. You know why? The permanent secretary in the office of the head of service is a Yoruba guy who served in the civil service and he has remained there. And you see, there are some Yorubas in the civil service. If you go to Onitsha, you see a lot of Northerners who own properties. As a matter of fact, my in-law, the landlord of their shop in Onitsha main market, or one of their shops in Onitsha main market, is a Northerner. So what it means is that there is already capital sitting that can actually be used to attract more capital. And so you run the state on commerce. You don't need to start trying to reinvent the wheel. But the sad thing is that
Nigeria has been unfortunate with governors since 1999 because when they're outside and they're campaigning, they see all the problems, they seem to have all the solutions. Once they get into power, it seems like they're preoccupied with politicking, that they forget how to govern. And I think the only time Lagos got it right, they say, is because ex-governor Tinubu was doing the politicking. And technocrat Governor Fashola was able to actually govern because he didn't have any business with all the politics of Lagos State. But Ambode came in and was busy fighting Tinubu's proxy wars and forgot that he was governor, that stepped into the shoes of a super governor.
Is this someone now you're talking about?
Ambode,
okay.
He stepped into the shoes of Governor Fashola and forgot that he was governor. Some of the projects that Governor Fashola started, he abandoned. And not only was he angering the governing council, he was angering with the masses.
No, but he did assembly well now. So
no, he didn't do assembly well.
Ambode could have done better. He could have done better.
He didn't do assembly well. He may have done some things that Lagos was already on a free rein towards progress. Some of the projects that he abandoned, if he had only just continued them. And then look at what he did with Cleaner Lagos, taking us back to the days of pigs on our streets, because he wanted to bring in his own cleaning company. However, I'm not talking about Lagos State. I'm just talking about how if they're able to leave politics aside and actually face governance, we thought that when you bring technocrats into power, they would, because they don't have godfathers and all of those things, they will face governance.
Anambra is a self-sustaining state. If you live on Onitsha, there are manufacturing and business hubs in Obosi, Nnewi, places where I think Soludo still have some good.
Yeah. Well, there's still a lot more to discuss. And when we return from this quick break, Juror Henry Igwebuike will present his case titled Trump's Comment on Liberia, Ignorance or Insult. Do stay with us.
Middlemen.
Thank you for staying tuned. My case, Trump's comment on Liberia, compliment or insult. During one of his interactions with African leaders, former U.S. President Donald J. Trump made what many consider a backhanded compliment to Liberia's president by praising him for speaking good English. At first glance, this might seem harmless or even flattering, but within context, it reveals a deeper issue of ignorance or outright disrespect. Liberia was founded in the 19th century by freed African-American slaves. Its official language is English, and its cultural, political, and educational system have long been influenced by the United States of America. For an American president to express surprise or admiration over a Liberian president's fluency in English reflects a lack of awareness of his historical connection, or worse, a reduction of African nation to its stereotypes of illiteracy or backwardness. Now, my verdict for today. The comment by Donald Trump was not just about language. It highlighted how Africa is often perceived in Western political discourse. Trump's remark may not have been deliberately derogatory, but it echoed a long-standing narrative where African competence is treated as an exception rather than the norm. Whether it was ignorance of Liberia's U.S.-linked past or a veiled insult cloaked in patronizing praise, the effect remains the same, a reminder of the subtle ways Africa is still undervalued on the global stage.
If I was the president of Liberia, you know what I would have done?
What would you have done, sir?
I would have shifted to Igbo language.
Straight to your own language.
Straight to my own language.
But you know what he did? He was saying, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, God. I felt insulted on his behalf.
What about the Senegalese man? Who could have even been who could have even taken over the chairmanship of ECOWAS after Tinubu, because it was touted as a suave, intelligent.
I have three
He
comments.
was talking about bringing a golf course instead of talking of foreign investment, industries, or schools.
Sir, I have three comments on this particular case. Number one, somebody was asking me, they invited African countries, they did not invite Nigeria. Again, Nigeria is not anybody's giant of Africa on any paper anymore.
It is to Nigeria.
Look, forget it. Since the days of Obasanjo and Yaradua, and then Jonathan, where our economy was really going up, and then Buhari came in. Look, even paper tiger will not be. Huh? So, they invited the giants of Africa, and then in a conversation of giants, you are asking a whole president, where did he learn his English from? Remarkable. You were so surprised that he was speaking. Again, let me even go back to the messenger. Oh, what school did Trump go to?
No, he went to Wharton.
He went to
Ivy League school, Wharton.
Yeah.
He went to Wharton, one of the best schools in the US. So give it to him.
Yes. Okay, so he went through formal education. He did not pass through informal education to the extent of knowing the links of
Trump
to
America. No, you mean Liberia? Trump can be mischievous. I believe he was, because he also added another insult at his own people. He said because not many people around this table can speak English.
Oh, so I get that part, yeah.
Was he referring to his own people or the rest of African?
I thought he was referring to the rest of the African.
But his people were on the table.
Of course,
have you forgotten what Harvard University did to his secretary for education?
No, it was
the letter the secretary wrote, and then Harvard second.
You know that if you read body language, he realized immediately he made that statement that the insult that he caught. Everyone, Trump himself. So throwing it back to because not many people on this table can speak, he was trying to take the sting away from the bite.
But he was but the African leaders insulted themselves. Why would you go to the White House and be saying that you need help from America to mine your resources, like the big insult that the Democratic Republic of Congo did to themselves? You are human beings. You have hands, you have legs, you have brains. You cannot mine your soil minerals. You are waiting for America to come and do it.
Shebi Ibrahim Traore has told us that Africa does not need the World Bank, IMF, or any other country. We need to just fence Africa because France is still begging him for French troops to come back to Burkina Faso. And he's saying, when France was the one helping us to sell our gold, I've forgotten the figures. If they were selling this amount of gold for this amount of, dollars, or France's franc, that by the time he got into government, he was selling it for ×3, meaning that they were underpaying them. 1. 2, you take raw resources, right? And then you print paper and give it to us as payments, currency. You are not exchanging value for value.
That is equal to what?
Do you get what I mean? America prints dollar and then says that is the currency of the world. They print it. We will now carry our raw resources that we go mining. That's what God gave us as value. We'll now go and exchange it for their own paper that they printed. Come on.
Let me chip in here. I've told Henry this morning that let's come from this background. Africa has celebrated academics.
All over the world.
The names of Professor Wole Soyinka from Nigeria here, Chinua Achebe, of late Chimamanda Adichie, Gabriel Okara, there are plenty. South Africa, East Africa, Nnamdi Global, all of them.
Patrick Lumumba.
So President Trump, in his tantrums or compliments, cannot feign that Africa is not a land producing excellent academics. He cannot do that.
He didn't attempt to.
I'm saying
it was about.
This is about spoken language.
Hold on. Two. Trump, from his first tenure till now, has met the likes, I dare say, of President Buhari.
Yes, he has met him. Yeah,
so
met
him
at the Capitol.
This is a remote comparison. Sorry, that has illuminated an impression in him. I've watched President Buhari in a presidential debate being nudged and supplied answers by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo.
Yes, he was even answering for him.
So perhaps this is a remote comparison in the mind of President Trump. But I've told Harry in the morning that African governments insult themselves.
Yeah.
Going to a president and asking him for mining help. Is President Trump a miner?
No, he's
If
not.
I'm a Nigerian president, there are mining companies run by Egyptians, Israelis, Americans, Russians. I will hire them.
There are mining companies run by Nigerians in Nigeria.
Let's take it abroad. I will hire you and your foreign expertise. There will be terms of payment. I will pay you. Then you will return where you are. And I will continue. So the African presidents who refuse to see themselves as managers, to wear thinking caps and run efficient resource management, will continue to lambast and wallow
But Trump,
and be treated
coming
like this.
back to spoken language, he cannot say that he has not heard William Ruto. He has not heard Ramaphosa.
No, he's not talking of those people.
So what was it?
Look, his guests insulted themselves. Look, let me tell you, when you're dealing with Americans, I remember when I went, I went on a tour, a training tour in 2001, and we were briefed at the U.S. consulate in Lagos, because it was a trip sponsored by the State Department, and we were briefed about certain things. You see, when you are relating with Americans, learn how to be sarcastic. You don't have to answer every comment with yes or no. Learn how to take sarcasm, and then if you want to throw sarcasm, learn how to throw sarcasm back.
In the same measure.
Something like, oh, Mr. President, but you ought to know, right? You ought to know that Liberia, that Liberians speak very good English because of their heritage.
They returned from America.
Yeah, exactly.
You give it back. You don't say yes or no.
You will say yes, sir.
You don't say yes, sir.
And sorry, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited Trump twice this week before today.
Yes.
President Trump sat down to give him a welcoming handshake. I thought presidents usually stand up to greet each other.
Maybe they already stood up outside.
Maybe before,
And
maybe that's a
hold on,
continuation.
But there was nothing condescending with Netanyahu.
How did you go there?
And hold on, hold on. Excuse me.
How did you go
Netanyahu
there?
Hold on, Jumoke, we are rounding up. The president of Ghana, the one who just left, John
Kufo.
Yes, have lectured. What is this handsome man's name? The president of France.
Macron.
Yes, in Ghana, podium to podium. I have the video that look. Ghana needs no, I'm quoting him verbatim, Ghana needs no aid from you.
Yes, so.
We are the people that should be giving you aid.
And can
because
you see
you are
Ghana?
taking our resources.
Did you see the picture of university in
did
Ghana
it.
that
Sorry.
looks like a 5-star
He said that much.
real estate in Lagos?
Yes. He said that much to the front of President Macron.
Innocent.
And Macron was standing humbled.
Ghanaian currency is doing the best in the world today.
The man was humbled.
So when he was
President of
saying
France.
what he was saying, he wasn't even boasting. No.
You've heard the
He's
video.
just giving them facts.
You've heard the video.
Look, Nigeria should be the richest country in
Definitely.
the world.
Do we have a president
With
with
all
that
the
posture?
That's it. So Nigerian president now will be invited by Trump. Trump, after seeing President Buhari, said, I never want to see somebody so lifeless.
Look, Nigeria is a country with
Oh, God.
exceptional
We
vice
are talking of
presidents.
Netanyahu.
Vice presidents. Alex Ekweme, Doctor, to who?
Please, don't remind us of
Yemi
Shetima.
Osinbajo,
Let
to
us
who?
go. Don't
You know,
Shetima.
it's usually like a reverse.
Unfortunately,
seller.
Jurors,
He never even find ice cream sale.
unfortunately, because of that same trip, the Senegalese president had to cancel Akon, the notable Senegalese American artist, Wakanda city, Akon city he wanted to build for $6 billion. He had to cancel it because he needed a golf course rather than an Akon city. Very unfortunate. That's where we find ourselves. But Juror Olajumoke Alawode-James will present her case titled, What Do Nigerians Want? Right after this break. Don't go anywhere. The punching of jurors. In the hallowed halls of justice, where echoes of truth intertwine with whispers of despair, there stands Jumoke Alawode-James, a radiant figure sculpted by the universe, with a beauty akin to a stallion galloping through fields of reckoning. Clad in the armor of eloquence, her voice pierces the thick veil of complacency, unraveling cases that cradle the very essence of Nigeria's collective agony. She stands a sentinel over a nation laid bare, beckoning it to rise from the ashes of its own dissolution, crying out for a redemption that dances just beyond reach. Next emerges Evans Ufeli, a sage, with a heart that beats in harmony with the rhythm of justice, an advocate driven by a fervent dream of egalitarian dawn. Each week, he unfolds a scroll of cases bestowed upon him by the wise rabbi, a craft woven with threads of profound thought and searing urgency. His lamentation for the plight of the people rises like a haunting melody, reverberating through a land where self-inflicted wounds twist the tendrils of allegiance into knots of a servitude, traded for nothing more than a pittance, a morsel of bread amidst the hunger of the soul. Then strides forth Emeka Madunagu, a linguistic maestro, armed with knowledge as dense as the forest, each word a carefully sharpened arrow aimed at the heart of injustice. He ventures onto this hallowed platform armed with solutions, a veritable panacea for the ail of his compatriots. Emeka unyielding locks eyes with the elite, unflinching in his resolve as he speaks truth to power with the fervor of a modern-day prophet. He advocates for a class suicide, a radical act of severance from the vines of greed that choke the very life of Nigeria, prescribing this sacrificial rite as the only balm for the nation's festering wounds. Now, we bear witness to Innocent Adulugba, a custodian of integrity, where honesty flows like a river untainted. His edges of sacred truth is fortified by the solid foundation of reason, delivering a symphony of clarity that dances gracefully along the social-cultural spectrum. Innocent, an oracle of the common people, channels their pulse, imbibing the essence of their struggles and transforming them into the language of the streets. His enlightenment becomes a lantern, guiding those lost in the shadow, illuminating pathways of
Thank you for staying tuned. This is still the Middlemen, and we are Jurors. My case ordinarily should be what do Africans want after the last conversation, but my case today is titled, What do Nigerians want? Do we want the US to give us 2 years visas so we can jackpot, or for the government to provide good governance? Do we want good governance, or we want our brothers to be in power so we can become rich? Do we want to become rich so we can oppress our neighbors, or to prevent us from going into poverty at old age? Do we want to get old to see our great-grandchildren, or we want to go to heaven when God calls us? Do we want God to call us at his own right time, or we are just religious so we don't go to hell? I mean, some people have said it would be wrong for any Nigerian to live in Nigeria and still go to hell. Are we afraid of hell, or we worship God because we truly love him? Do we truly love God, or we just love our men of God? Do our men of God tell us the truth, or they only tell us what we think, or what they think that we want to hear? What do Nigerians want? Here's my verdict. Unless and until Nigerians decide what we really want, we will continue to live like we were created to destroy one another, while our politicians will continue to use that for their own advantage, and the rest of the world leaves us behind like we are still in the Stone Age. We definitely have to want the same things for Nigeria to move forward. What do you really want, Nigerians?
Anyway, there are many things Nigerians want, but there are 2 types of Nigerians.
Ewo.
Yeah, and it's a conflict of the tribe, of the political elites and some of their rich cronies. Look, in Nigeria, the political elites live on islands of opulence, surrounded by the masses in oceans of poverty. And so, if there is a good man, let me go this distant example, like Nelson Mandela from prison. Even this new coalition, ADC, if he joins there, you don't know how much they will peg form for those who want to contest. The good man has to emerge in that office, like the Professor Oti we mentioned in Abia, to effect good governance, but may not have that money to buy that form.
Except he stole it.
So 2 things. A group will buy it for him. When he gets to office with all his goodness, he will be owing them returns on investment. Or he backs off. So the other person, not as effective as him, with the wherewithal, emerges. With
a godfather.
Yes.
Or stolen wealth.
We just talked, look at, let me even digress. When President Tinubu visited Benue State on the back of brutal killings by killer Fulani heads, 2 things happened. One, he went to condole with the Benue people, indigenous at Yelewata.
Yeah, but he never reached there.
Grammatical excuse, he is back. And if you speak about that, paid praise singers and sycophants will come at you on social media.
Now, do you want the president to be swept away by flood?
2, the Reverend Governor Hyacinth Alia, a holy man from the pulpit, did not deliver the truth at the political podium. It was a native man, a traditional ruler, who spoke the mind.
The same Reverend Governor that puts young children inside ring to go and welcome the president. Children who probably have family members that have lost family members.
So true. So that I drop now. We just talked about how African presidents are perceived. We've mentioned arguably Professor Soludo. I am a big fan of Governor Babatunde Raji Fashola. There is an addition of AFDB. Yes. There are plenty. There are people who can stand with the posture of a president in any global gathering that Nigerians will be proud of. They won't get
there. Is Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. There's Obi Ezekwesili.
I will land now. But you see those people. Nigeria runs on gerontocracy, ruled by the old. Eventually, as we speak today, Fashola has the presidential appeal. By political loyalty, he will wait. Whoever we call has the appeal. Okonjo-Iweala, are we going to vote her? So by the time it gets to their turn, I'm sorry to say, the darling Fashola would be senile.
It will be 78, going on 90.
And so, sorry, Nigerians are not blinded by what they want. What they want is not being given to them to the extent that up till 2024 election in Edo, if you go to vote for one people to win or the other, is down to the most efficient manipulators of INEC.
Absolutely.
You know,
power is not self-allocated. Nobody is going to give you anything.
Nobody
you
are attacked and shot at.
But you know, I want to turn attention to us here.
Yes.
With what Dr. Samademi said recently, that the reason why we have the sort of leaders we have is about the upbringing we give to our children. We bring our children up subconsciously, to value oppression, to value the subversion of their rights. And when these people grow up in a society where light comes out, up NEPA, you are being oppressed and denied of your rights, but you are unwittingly allowing your children
to praise
the oppressors. That how do you expect such people to grow up in such an oppressive society and come to believe that people should
have a voice?
People should already deserve these things.
True, very true, sir.
People should deserve these things. These things
very
should
true.
just be a given. So it also starts with how we bring up our children. It also begins with how we value ourselves. Because like, Juror Jones has asked, what do we want? Do we want 2 years visa so that we can japa? Forgetting the fact that Nigeria is, the most popular nation, black nation in the world. So what it means is that turn Nigeria into a market. Like China. China is a market.
And everybody
will do that.
No,
we are the people to do it.
That's why I said I'm turning it to us.
We are the people
turn
to do
Nigeria into
it.
a market. Do you know what? If if I were in government,
if I were
in government, or if I find my way in government, one of the things I will do is this. I will do trade substitution. You know what? Import whatever you want to import maize, right? I saw China and started sending egusi to Nigeria.
Yeah, well.
You know what we will do? We will process it and export it back to China.
As what?
They don't eat egusi.
No, we'll find something. After all, China is using palm oil to make lipstick.
Palm oil does a lot of things now. It's oil.
No, we will find we'll find something for it.
But they don't eat egusi.
They don't have to eat egusi. What I'm saying is this. We can find uses for those things. When we say Nigeria is a dumping ground, it's because we feel we can consume just about anything.
I agree. Because they are producing the egusi for us. So is Nigeria thinking of producing anything that the world needs? We are sending everything out as raw material. We are not even farming. Somebody was saying recently that your father's land in Ekiti has cocoa. You are busy living under bridge in Lagos. It's our mentality of not seeing the value of the things that we have, the things that we can export, and then not demanding that the system works, that whatever you want to even export does not spoil at the port 3 months.
Unfortunately, I still want to ask the tough question, the catch question. What do Nigerians want.
We are not united
And I'd
in
love
that.
to start with us here and so many analysts and pundits in Nigeria. For the fear of possibly in the future, there are lots of people without international passports who are even scared of speaking against the United States of America, for the fear that possibly they might go through their social media platform or go through all the things they've heard and say, hey, there was a time you talked about the United States, we are denying you visa. And because of that, lots of analysts don't want to say anything about the United States. But I love to say it here because I don't even care. In fact, I don't even care about going to the United States again. The truth remains, we have been shortchanged by the United States of America.
Because we allow
The United
them.
States of America, the United States of America
shortchanged
makes
by the United
1.5 billion every day through visa processing.
Why are we trying to japa? Where are you going to do
No,
get?
but the truth is, of course, immigration is.
There are visa-free countries that we can go for holiday.
Even within Africa, even within
Mauritius. Another African country is visa-free. Why are Nigerians going to the US?
For economic sake now, it's not. They are not going there to enjoy themselves. They're going there to make money.
Rather than demand good governance. I've said it that Nigeria should be the richest country.
No, but
we want to go and work. No, we're not the visa line. It's about how much we're paying for
people who
visas.
export things from Nigeria to all these African countries. Make yourself a person of value, not just going to.
You want to japa?
Okay, look at it. You want to
Japa to what?
To go and do, the job of a caregiver.
Menial job.
I know of somebody, working in one, worked in the Western nation as a caregiver. Sadly, he went to do caregiving for somebody who is, mentally challenged. The person attacked him and beat him up. But he said, well, I don't mind. After all, I'm getting money.
Do you know why the person does not mind?
Home.
The person is receiving a payment in the currency
That he would never.
that
get
when they
in
send here.
But can I tell you?
So sorry. One of the things I want is that our currency should be powerful.
The fallacy in that is that I receive the currency.
How your currency will
There
be
is no
powerful
currency
is
that is
export.
better than the other. The only difference is
Is
this.
the value.
What value? What's
backing it up?
China deliberately devalues their currency.
Yes.
But because they.
And the US, no, yes,
They
and then
produce-
whenever
They devalue without export.
no, I'm coming.
We are
not an exporting country.
Imagine China devalues their currency and the US starts crying. But Chatham House last year told President Bola Tinubu that he should leave the naira devalue, that he should not increase it. So if we can turn our value to positive points,
By exporting.
you know what? If the naira drops, the West will start crying.
No, but do you know why Chatham House gave that advice? They come here from the West to extract our resources.
Yes, natural resources.
Yes, so we are not at par with China.
Innocent. You know the oil that is even our major foreign exchange earner. We don't even explore it.
We are not even the ones.
We are not exploring.
You know the quantity
We are enjoying. When they tell us,
they are extracting
when they tell
morning,
us,
afternoon, night.
when they tell us 2 million barrels per day, it is what they counted, not what we counted.
So you can imagine.
So when they say joint venture, we are only there to go and count money. To the extent that a Nigerian built refinery, and we said because oil is our major foreign exchange, we can't send oil to him in naira. Is that mentality that we ought to be asking ourselves, what do we want?
Exactly.
Unless all of us agree that we want the same thing. Again, the colonialists joined us across, divisive lines. Until we come back together to a referendum and agree. Wait, so do we go our separate ways?
How do we get the referendum?
No, it's for you and I to agree now.
No, Nigerian politicians will not.
So I am very
Nigerian politicians
will not allow.
Even though don't get me wrong. Even though they are the ones sowing the seeds of division,
Yes.
they know that they will become extinct.
The day we align, we align, right? They will become afraid of us. And this conversation doesn't end here, but we do have the time limits. So it's a wrap on this session of the Middlemen. Please put your conversations and your thoughts on our social media handles at Enterprise TV7 and let your voice count. My sincere gratitude to our jurors for their eye-opening cases and amazing verdicts today. Until next time, stay aware, stay safe, and never stop demanding better. From all the jurors of Middlemen, bye for now.